You're listening to an archived Cabral Concept podcast. After listening to this show, check out the most up-to-date podcasts available at stephencabral.com/podcasts or search directly on iTunes. And now, welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
I'm excited to go over a brand new topic with you today. It's something that I want us to start to let sink in over the next couple weeks so that we have the strongest start to our year yet. But honestly, this is a topic that you can listen to and should listen to a few times of the year. Because what I want to teach you is what that you need to know. Like, it has to be a part of any goal-setting program, but it has to be a part of also being happy, being content with where you're at right now in life. So listen to this, come back to it. Every time you come back to it, you'll have a new perspective, a new way to look at it, and you'll be able to grow and further develop from there. But what I want to go over today are 7 steps. So there's 7 life skills to master for the next few months as we're developing who we want to be in the new year. But of course, revisiting this anytime. Maybe you're listening to this later in the year. Maybe you're listening to this 2 years from when the show comes out. You have to understand that these things are lifelong principles, that the universal truths, so they'll never go out of fashion. You know, when I write things, when I try to speak things, I want them to be evergreen. That means everlasting. They're not going to go out of fashion. Diet plans go out of fashion. Certain crazy exercise programs come and go. But what I focus on is what is here to stay. Because there are things that can get you short-term results, but they'll typically backfire in the long run unless we realize that there's a long-term plan. And I talked about that last week. I said there are some things you're going to do with supplements, with diet plans, with exercise that you'll do in the beginning, but you know that it's not going to get you to your future goals. However, for the short term, it's going to get you out of a tough spot. And there's nothing wrong with that ever. Sometimes we simply have to get ourselves out of a hard spot in life. No worries. I get it. Everyone should be, well-meaning, well-intentioned of that. So there are things that you have to do now, putting in the extra work, the extra effort, the extra whatever, that you're not going to have to do for the rest of your life. That is part of life. So again, there's an ebb and flow to life. But what I want to share with you today are 7 truths that you need to begin to embody. Because the more you embody them, the happier you're going to be. The happier you are, the more grateful you are, the more content you are, the further you're going to go in life no matter what, because life becomes infinitely easier when you're in a flow state. So a flow state is when you feel that things come to you naturally, that you don't have to fight the process. That's what we need to move into. So without further ado, let's get into these 7 tips that I've kind of gathered from all around, from all the knowledge that I've studied from all the different masters. These are 7 tips that I want to give you that I really want you to, again, embody, to make a part of you so that they're natural. You don't even have to work them, that they're natural. That will take some time in the beginning. Work them, refer back to them, write them down, try to work on maybe even just 1 per week or 1 every 3 weeks as you start to make it just instinctual, natural, that you don't even need to think about it. Okay, the first one is this, and this goes back to last Monday's Motivation and Mindset podcast. If you do not listen to that one, I highly recommend going back to it. I mean, here's the reason why. It's been a little bit since one podcast, a Motivation and Mindset Monday, really resonated with so many people that it's just like, direct messages, people in our private Facebook group, our IHP group, like everybody was just, this is the podcast. Like this was the one that I needed. And so these are all free. I mean, there's nothing that I'm doing except wanting to get that information to you. And the podcast was what to do when no one understands. Because so many of us that we're walking a different path. I mean, again, listening to a podcast like this is a rarity in life. It really is. You are on a different path in life. And you know what? It's the right path. But not everyone is on that path to wanting to become more enlightened, to want to do things that sometimes are more challenging, but in the end are more rewarding. That they aren't living for immediate gratification, but they're living for that long-term happiness-based plan. That they're doing things to improve their relationships, their career, their body, their wellness, their spirituality. And most people just want the simple path. They just want that easy path. And again, it makes it much harder for the rest of your life, but it's easy in the current moment. So last week's podcast, episode 1389, went through that. I really would love you to tune into that one simply because it's going to help you with this. The first truth is this: accept that you will be misunderstood in life. If someone listens to just one of my podcasts, they will think that I'm anti maybe interval-based exercise or anti-keto or anti-low carb or anti-anything. When if you listen to the body of my work, I'm almost not anti-anything. What I look for is who should it be used for and when and for how long. I'm pro-people. That's what I'm about. Whatever is best for them. If someone listens to one of my podcasts, they might think I'm against conventional medicine when they don't realize that I work with so many medical doctors, that I have so many medical doctors as part of my own private wellness practice. They come to see me for their own health, and I understand where they're coming from. I have a medical doctor as a medical director as part of our team at Equilibrium Nutrition. I'm not against conventional medicine. I'm just not pro-conventional medicine when it comes to chronic-based dis-ease of the body. Because I know that medications are simply masking symptoms, and I'm pro-people. So I know that's not what's best for people in the long run. But I am pro-conventional medicine when it comes to helping in those acute-based conditions and making sure that we help people live longer. I'm not against that. So I want to make that clear. But here's the thing. You will be misunderstood. For a lot of the good that you're trying to do in the world, you'll be misunderstood. Some people think you're trying to sell something. They're trying to promote something. I have so many friends. One of them, I'm thinking about them right now. And she's the owner of a really amazing health-based company. And she gets criticized for saying, oh, she sells too much or is promoting too much. Hey, listen, promote all you want. Keep promoting. Promote harder. Market harder. Because the product you have serves so many people. And you need to shout louder sometimes. You need to shout it from the rooftops because so many other people are shouting. You need to get your message out to people if it is an ethical product, an honest product, and can help people. People need it. Shout louder. But again, people will misunderstood you. Oh, they're just doing this for the money. They're doing that. So again, you'll be misunderstood. You'll be misunderstood in why you're trying to get in better shape. Maybe it's for your health and people think, oh, he or she just wants to get in great shape and show off. No, they want to be in great shape so they have more energy, so they live longer, so they improve their overall quality of life. You will be misunderstood. You have to understand is that your parents see you in a very different light. Your siblings see you in a very different light. Your friends from high school when you were 14 years old see you in a very different light. Your teachers see you in a different way. Your grandparents, your coworkers, your spouse or partner sees you in a different way. You have to understand is everyone sees a version of you. They never see the whole you, and they see you through their own eyes. That's not you. That's a version of you. You cannot control that narrative. It is not your job to control that narrative. It is your job to be you, to do you, to literally go out into the world and represent yourself to the best of your ability, serving in the greatest way that you can with your unique talents, blessings, and gifts that you've been given. And if you haven't yet uncovered them yet, they are there. They are unique to you, and they are what you need to use to serve the world in your way. So we have to go back and we have to understand is that we can't control other people's narrative of us. But if we're doing our best, that's enough. If people are mad at you for something that you didn't even do, what are you to do? You cannot allow that to hurt your feelings, to hurt who you are. Keep moving forward on your path in life. All right, number 2 is this. Begin to observe your situation in life, good or bad, as an outsider. Don't take everything so personally. I know you're a person, and I know that it's you, and I know that it's your life, and I know that you have to live it. I want you to start to look outside of you. Take a step outside of you. I work with so many great coaches. I really do. Amazing, amazing people. I always am working with coaches myself. I'm always trying to up level wherever I am. And the other thing is I don't want to slide backwards. Just like anybody, I'm prone to sliding back. And I want to make sure that I'm always staying aware. And all they ever do is say, listen, what if I were to tell you that I have a friend who's, and then they just put that, my scenario to that friend. What would you say in that situation to that person? And I'm like, well, I guess when you put it like that, that seems like this, this, and this. You don't have to have a coach. Great if you can. Great if you want to. What if you had a friend? What if you had a friend that just posed questions like that? What would you say to someone who was doing this, this, and this? Just reframe it. I want you to begin to reframe your life. If your relationships you feel are in absolute dismay, they're just falling apart. Let's just say it's with your partner, one of the most important people probably to you in your life. Take a step back. Think about this. Is everything in your relationship broken? Is it everything? Or is it this one main thing that you've been battling over for the last couple weeks, months, or maybe years? Is there one sticking point, but everything else is actually pretty good? But you need to get over this one thing. Focus on that. Everything's not broken. There's one thing, or maybe two things. You have to have that open dialogue then, and that conversation. You step back and you say, listen, you're talking with your partner, and you say, everything seems to actually be pretty good. Here's the thing where we're butting heads on. How do we get around this? Here's my viewpoint, and this seems to be your viewpoint. Is that correct? Are we able to compromise on this? Or are we able to say we're two individuals? We're two unique individuals. Are we able to have these differences and simply respect each other's differences and move on and just put that to the side? It's like, okay, you believe in this and you believe in this. Is that one thing enough to divide the two of you? Or can that be both of your two unique views and everything else can be okay? You have to start to just, again, look outside of it. You hate your job. Like, it's just like you don't want to be working there. Well, is your job, though, a means to an end right now? It supports you. It supports your family. Be grateful for that. Be grateful to have a job. Be grateful to be able to work. Be grateful to even have the mindset and energy to be able to work. Be grateful for it and say, it's going to allow me also, though, at the same time to study, to be certified in, to go back to school, to whatever, to move into that new job. Be grateful. Just, again, start to reframe your current situation. Neuro-linguistic programming is great at beginning to look at this differently. So the third one is this. Give without expecting to receive. Most people aren't even aware. Like, you have to understand this. So let's break this down. When you are doing something nice for someone else, when you're giving a service, whether you're purchasing a gift, whether you're just kind of going out of your way, whatever it is, you need to be doing that without expecting that other person to reciprocate or for you to get something back. Because if you're expecting to get something back, you're actually not, like, that is not a karmic-based service. You are expecting reciprocity. That is not the right way to give. It's actually not giving. It's actually taking. You're only giving to get in that situation. And you can't be asking to get. You need to give freely and openly of yourself. And again, most people, I want to really stress this, and this is what I've realized. I just really have. And I've realized it with myself. Sometimes the person that you're even giving to isn't even aware of how much you've gone out of your way in order to do something for that person. There's been times where I've been in my own head. I've said this before that I'm a daydreamer, that I'm sometimes in my own head. And my wife will be like, listen, like, that person was looking to have a deeper conversation with you. And I'm like, I didn't even realize that. I thought, they were just bumping in, just saying hi, just saying hello, and we're being polite, like whatever it might be. And she's like, no, and she has to get me out of my own head. You have to understand is that sometimes people aren't even in the right space and they don't mean any harm by it, but they're not always there mentally to be able to reciprocate. Remember, you will get back 10x whatever you give. It's just not always immediate. It's not right away. Sometimes what happens is that you're putting out all this good out into the world, that you're putting all this hard work out into the world, and it comes back not always on our timeline. It comes back on the universe's timeline, on the world's timeline, and it comes back to you when you need it the most as well. So keep that in mind, is that you need to always be giving without necessarily receiving. But at the same time, and this is my important follow-up to this, is that you also have to set boundaries. You can't be the type of person that literally is a detriment to their own life, that goes out of their way so much that it's exhausting them in terms of energy, that it's breaking them down in terms of anxiety and overwhelm and mentally, and that it's causing harm in their own life. Don't give so much that you deplete yourself. Meaning that I don't want you to fully empty everything you have because you feel like it's the thing that you need to do for your parents, for your siblings, for friends, for family, for your partner, whoever it might be. You have to set boundaries. And here's the thing. How do you know that you're overstepping, like that people are asking too much of you and that it's unfair? Well, you have to understand this, is that you want to feel that you are also being respected in the situation. Maybe people aren't able to give to you because they don't have as much to give, and that's okay. You give freely there. But you have to understand is that you deserve respect. So anybody purposely taking advantage of you, it's not okay. It is not okay to be taken advantage of. And here's multiple reasons why. It's not okay for that other person. But remember, they're going to get their due justice in time. That's not for us to say, and it's not for us to do. But we also have to look at this. If you are knowingly and enabling yourself to be a pushover or to be disrespected, it's how you're going to start to view yourself. If you allow that, you are not going to have the self-confidence in order to be moving forward in your life towards the goals that you want, because you are always going to put yourself as second best. Remember, put yourself as first best. Here's why. If you take care of you for you, everybody else can take care of them for them. It's a little bit of a side quote by my favorite quote by Jim Rohn that says, I'll take care of me for you if you'll take care of you for me. And what does that mean? Well, it means that we're always worried. We're always trying to take care of everybody else. Sometimes what we need to do is stop and say, listen, how can I take care of me? If I take care of me and I have better energy, more stamina, I'm in a better mood, don't you think I'll be better for everybody else? Of course, right? The more sometimes you fill your own cup, the more there is to pour out to everybody else. So that's how we have to look at it. Remember, do for others, but also do for yourself. If you have zero time in your day, that means that there's no boundaries at all. That means that you're not allowed to wake up when you want, go to bed when you want. That means you're not allowed to take lunch. That means that you have no boundaries at all. Now, again, I've been there and I'm sure you have as well. And sometimes, again, we're in it, right? Like, let's just say the birth of a child. There's no time, right? There's no time. You might already have one or two other kids. Now you have a baby in the household. But in time, you will. You need to create those boundaries. Your husband, wife, spouse needs an hour to themselves. You need an hour to yourself. Make that deal with each other. There's nothing wrong. Listen, I want to give you an hour off during the day, a half hour off. How can I do that? And in turn, I would like the same. That is not too much to ask in life. We do not want to live as victims of our life. We want to live in enjoyment. And the way that happens is that we have to create it. It never happens on its own. We have to actually create that in our life. So begin to set healthy boundaries, okay? Be kind about it, and I'm going to talk about that next. Be kind, but set those boundaries. It's okay. It is. You need to have your own life as well. Number 5 is this. I want you to start speaking your truth. If someone asks you something and you believe strongly and you feel it's appropriate to share, speak your truth. If you're doing work that you love, but you're worried about being criticized or rejected, speak your truth. Here's the thing. You want to be kind. You don't want to put people down. There are a lot of podcasts out there. And they build themselves up by putting others down. I talked about this maybe like 2 months ago or so, 3 months ago on the show. And there are always those people out there that are criticizing you. There really are. There are people out there who are going to reject you because you don't practice the same type of belief system that they do. Religion, politics, even medicine. I mean, there are medical doctors that will put down naturopathic doctors. There are naturopathic doctors that will put down chiropractors. There are chiropractors that will put down personal trainers. Remember, it's just like, no, the way that I believe is best and it's the only way to do it. But listen, don't worry about that. Speak your truth. If you know it to be true, if you've seen it work in your own life, if you know that it can be replicated, share it with others. The reason why you should share it with others is because it will help at least one other person out there. Do not be afraid to ever speak your truth. Be you, raise your own vibration. By doing that, it will enable you to be stronger and more confident as well. There's no doubt about it. Number 6 is this. As the rejection comes, realize this. People will criticize you. There's no doubt about it. They'll criticize you whenever you do something new, whenever you do something different. I did a motivation and mindset podcast a few years back on crabs in the bucket. And the analogy goes like this, is that the reason they don't have to put a lid on a bucket of crabs is because as one crab begins to escape and pull its way up to the top, the other crabs will pull it back down. And this is even well-meaning friends. I've had many friends start to get on their wellness path, and they've said, you know what, for the next month, I'm not going to be drinking any alcohol. And all their friends that love to drink and love to go out, they criticize them. They say, oh, what do you need to follow that plan for? Oh, that's baloney anyway. Like, don't follow that. Don't believe in it. You know, this is the right thing to do. And they'll draw you back, right? But it's because that's who they want you to be. Not who you want to be. It's who they want you to be. But you need to start living your own truth. And people, again, they will criticize you. But I'll tell you this. No one who's working on themselves and no one who's even risen above where you are will ever drop back down and criticize you. There's no way. I love this quote that people who are doing more work than you will never criticize you. They won't. And the reason is this. They've already been there. They've already done that. They know how hard it is. It is only those people with lower self-esteem that need to knock others down in order to stand taller. That's it. It's the only way, and it's the only reason why. I refuse to call out other brands. I refuse to call out other companies. There's no need. Why? Because I can focus on all of the things that we should be doing. You could focus on the negative or you could focus on the positive. The negative means don't do these things. But if you understand energy, what you focus on grows. So if I were to talk to you about the negative, that's going to grow and it's going to grow inside of me. But if I focus on the positive and I talk to you about the positive, guess what grows? The positive. Overnight? No. In the long term? Yes. Is the long term that matters? Yes. You're going to be living another 10, 20, 30, 50, 100 years, depending on how old you are right now. If you're 20 years old, you might live to 120. Like, that's where we're going. Begin to believe. There is a more positive future. Criticism will come. The more you stick your nose out, the more you stick your head out, the more you stick your neck out, the more people will be looking to take shots at it. That's okay. Let them take their shots, right? Speak your truth. The last one is this, number 7. One of the biggest ones. Sometimes in life, you need to just go back to your breath, realize that you're holding too much tension, too much stress. You need to step away. One of my favorite things to do, no matter what, I have my 3 anchors a day. Please go back. Listen to the previous podcast on that on my anchors. I start my day with the morning routine. At lunch, I take a walk every single day at lunch. Unless it's literally raining sideways, I take a walk at lunch. That resets me. It's getting back into nature. Now, I know I live in the city, okay? But it enables me to put on binaural beats, to close out the outside noise, and to begin to go back within, relax, calm the tension, and I do the same at the end of the day. You need to have your own 3 anchors. When possible, get into nature. That's why I always talk about Maine and how much I love going to Maine. Well, here's the thing. It gets me back into nature. It allows me to get away from the everyday stresses. Sometimes all you need to do is step away from your ordinary routine. Take some type of vacation away. You can get an Airbnb for like $99 in just some wooded area, like a log cabin, right? Just step away. That's it. 2 days away, 3 days a day, 3 days away can make all the difference. What does it do? It allows you time for perspective. When you step out of your current situation, you can begin to look at it from that outside perspective that I told you in point number 2, and it enables you to look at life differently. When you can look at life differently, you can begin to lower those barriers of stress. The barriers of stress are the obstacles which keep you from doing new, keep you from moving forward in life. Why? because they cause the anxiety, they cause the overwhelm, they cause the irritability. When you're already overwhelmed, you don't want to do more. That is why I need you to take away. Step into nature, get rid of the distractions, go within, relax, breathe. When in doubt, go back to your breath, calm your body in through the nose, out through the mouth. That relaxes the nervous system. When you have that, you have then perspective. You've gone back to the breath, away from the outside world, stepping within instead of living without. I'll tell you this. If you begin to master these 7 life skills, these truths in life, you'll become more connected with who you truly are and less with what the world wants you to be. Thank you so much for tuning in today's Motivation and Mindset Monday. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for your support of the Cabral concept. I look forward to doing even more work as we move into the new year. As always, if this show was helpful, please do feel free to pass it along to anyone else you believe it could serve. Take care. Ever wonder what the best sauna, blue blockers, sleep trackers, wake lights, salt lamps, or other health gadgets are? Or what about the top non-toxic mattresses, sheets, soaps, bath products, toothpaste, and cookware? Or would you like to know the cleanest choices for hemp hearts, meal delivery services, supplements, and much more? I personally curated, researched, and now created a resource page of all of my top picks that continues to grow each week. These are the exact products I use in my own life, with my family, in my private practice, and they're the ones I trust. To find out all of my up-to-date recommendations and all the details, simply head on over to stephencabral.com/resources.